All right, so the next person I want to bring up is one of the sweetest men in Seattle, in my opinion. Arthur Furukawa just always makes you feel very warm and welcome. He's originally from Honolulu. He has his BA in art history from Brown, his Master of Architecture from Columbia, and he's one of the owners of a very successful architecture firm here in Seattle, SABA. And more importantly, he has two college-age daughters, one of which was a TIPS intern, Diana. She interned back in 2012. He is on the board, and he is such a wonderful advocate for teens in public service. So, Arthur, can you please come up?
Is this on? Oh. So I'm sure, like I share with many of you here today, the absolute passion for public speaking and the relaxing feeling that comes over you. But so I did seek counsel from some people, and I got universally back the same advice. It was, for God's sake, man, keep it short. We want to hear what Noah Purcell has to say. So I will try my best. As Natasha mentioned, I learned about TIPS through our older daughter, Diana, in 2012 when she was a sophomore in high school. She found out about TIPS on her own, applied, interviewed, and was granted an internship with the Nature Consortium, one of our longtime partners, working out of the Rainier Boys and Girls Club. And what Nature Consortium did was conduct art classes for local kids and families, and many of whom were new immigrants to the United States and Seattle. And Diana's tasks range from figuring out art projects, procuring materials, to helping teach the class, to working individually with kids, encouraging them, sometimes corralling them, cleaning up after them. You know, all tasks, none of which individually seem, oh my God, that's amazing. But as the collective whole, it was a transformative summer for her. And I think the reasons are several reasons, and I think other people have mentioned this. One is, I think as adults, we kind of forget the empowering feeling it is to have a job, to show up on time, to do what's needed, to do a good job at it, and get paid for your work. There's value in that. And I think from the TIP standpoint, particularly to be aware of what's going on in your community, to find out about groups in your community that you didn't know about, and to respectfully help those and gain that respect back. That was by far the biggest thing. And then also to get a firsthand look at what a not-for-profit does and to see how dedicated and committed their employees are. So fast forward, I was impressed by what I saw with TIPS, and I kind of looked at myself too about how little I was doing, outside of my own world, and decided to volunteer with them and became a board member about 3 years ago. And with this broader perspective about the organization, I've been able to see I'm continually more convinced at the value of TIPS. And every year when we interview people, and I was fortunate enough to interview Brianna this year, I think ourselves, our nonprofits, and the people they help, it's hard not to be optimistic about the future with these great young people. And I think secondly, also in my position, I get to meet, like Megan was mentioning, a lot of alumni, some that are now in college, some that are having their first job after university, and some that are well into their careers. And almost universally, they look back at that TIPS experience, oftentimes the first job, as something that really gave them perspective and helped them chart maybe a slightly different course than they would have otherwise. And so now I come to the second thing that everybody loves doing, which is asking people for money. And so warning to the table captains out there, if you can pass out your envelopes, and as people get out their credit cards and checkbooks, and I want you to know that for every $10,000 you donate, and feel free, that you cannot make a better investment in your community. TIPS again, like for a summer, you're investing in a young person that's motivated and giving the pride in a good way of having a job and serving their community. You're providing a not-for-profit with a fully vetted, paid-for intern that's ready to go on day one, and the residual benefits to the community about the further actions that that the nonprofits are allowed to perform with this intern. But I think, most of all, that donation goes beyond that. It's something that's long-term. We're really investing in a lot of the kids that are in this. Most of them are going to be our future leaders. They're going to be future leaders in business, in social services, medicine, law. And, especially today, I really want our future leaders to care about their communities and to value things more than just themselves. So, for that value, I think that you're seeing it in some people come up here. I ask for your support, and thank you very much for listening.